Okay, well, we're here today with Frank doing a follow-up visit. We got some time behind you now on the REDI-WASH units. Last time we talked, we were just starting up the RW443, and we're looking back now about just over 2.25 years. I think you've had that running, and your 132 has been running for about 3 years.
3 years.
So you got some time behind you on those units. And we're just here commissioning another REDI-WASH. Let's just kind of see, again, just maybe revisit what was the driving factor when you decided to go with the REDI-WASH systems. What was kind of the motivating factor? What made you choose the REDI-WASH versus alternative means of dealing with things?
Well, what initially drove us to look at Jadair International was the environmental aspects of our waste concrete. And then what came along with it was the ability to recycle and reclaim the sand and aggregate and reintroduce it back into our production. Ultimately, the benefits of having the REDI-WASH system in place is it improved efficiency, getting trucks in, get their loads washed out and reclaimed through the REDI-WASH unit, and get them back underneath the plant as quickly as possible.
Okay.
The added benefit of having the REDI-WASH unit was not having to waste concrete down below in our pit, and being able to reuse those products back and send it back into our production facilities and reuse it, and therefore minimizing our waste.
Gotcha. So environmental, and then you picked up the increased efficiency on the washouts, and then reclaiming your materials. You guys were sending trucks down to a washout pit that was a little ways away from the plant. You were probably taking,
good gosh, at least 15-20 minutes per truck, and you figure how many trucks are going down there that come back to the yard with 3 yards here and 2 yards there, sometimes a full load. But ultimately, just deleting that portion of the drivers having to go drive into the pit 15-20 minutes, it's easy to quantify the savings in just time alone, not to mention the recovered sand and aggregate, and being able to realize that savings and reintroducing it back into our production.
yeah, sand and aggregate's already been paid for.
I think so.
And so when the customer paid for it, you hope they paid for it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Not my world. Not my world.
But then it gets to go right back through your process.
Correct.
You guys are taking the material that you reclaim and running it back through your wash plant.
Correct.
And so then that material just goes right back with all your virgin product and is used in fresh concrete again.
That is correct.
Okay. And then on the washout side, I think last time we'd kind of guesstimated, just talking loosely, we were looking at probably you're saving between 6 and 8 hours a day probably on
easily
washout time.
Yeah, and just total man hours and whatnot.
Yeah.
If we were to try to tabulate and quantify it easily, just 6 to 8 hours.
It adds up.
Yes.
On a daily basis, that's
Absolutely.
money in
6
your
days
pocket.
a week. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And from the environmental side of things, has it kind of met your needs and requirements in that department?
Yes. From a solid waste perspective, it's really impacted us by not having to send this concrete down below, and yeah, it has.
What else could you tell us about your experience? Any other thoughts or points you'd point out on the REDI-WASH units?
No, it takes care of itself pretty much. I mean, obviously we have to do, there's any piece of equipment you got to do some level of maintenance, and that's to be expected. But other than that, no, I have no complaints on that front.
Met your hopes for it, or is it?
It met and exceeded what we thought this machine would do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Our new standard, these REDI-WASH. It looks like every plant we'll ever put up in the future will have some type of a REDI-WASH unit of sorts.
one size or another.
Correct.
You guys are currently running two different sizes.
Correct.